Greetings, people of Earth. Welcome back. My name is Jax, and today we are talking about chapter 69 of the Tao Te Ching, regretting aggression. So, I think this chapter is very universally important because we have all regretted aggression. I feel like. I don't think it's just me. Have you ever gotten mad at somebody and immediately regretted it? Or let me rephrase that. Has there ever been a time when you got aggressive with somebody that you didn't regret? Because personally, anytime I get short with somebody or we get into some kind of fight, I usually end up regretting it and just going, why did I make that such a big deal? The actual chapter in the Tao Te Ching isn't really talking about aggression in terms of minor squabbles or disagreements. It actually quotes I think an ancient Chinese like war proverb. I don't think it's Sun Tzu, but it's essentially talking about how you really do come to regret aggression, and essentially the person who goes into the fight already dreading it and regretting it usually ends up winning because they understand that there really is no winning in many ways. I can't think of many fights I have been in that have resulted in like a clear winner, but usually the winner is the one that didn't want to be involved in it and got out of it, or de-escalated the situation. Kind of a lot of that kind of stuff. You never really look back on your fight or your disagreement and go, yeah, that was a really good one, I'm glad I did that. It's not usually something that happens. And as a result, I have become a person that really shies away from fights of any kind. And people might say like, oh, that's so passive, you're gonna get pushed over and stuff. But I have autonomy, like if I want to do something, I can go and do it. And if I want to disengage from a situation and just leave and get out of that situation, I do it. We used to go to these sort of silly family gathering things, and they weren't like the normal like family reunion kind of thing. And as a child, I didn't have any autonomy, and so I'd go to them and it was like a battle, it was like fighting and all of this stuff. But now that I have autonomy, I can just choose not to go. I can just say, oh, sorry, I'm busy, I'm not available. And that allows me to avoid aggression before I even end up regretting it. So I don't know, I've talked about having autonomy and having independence and how important that is in becoming a human and becoming yourself, because before that you're kind of beholden to whoever you are with, or your parents or your friends, and that's no fun. It's no fun to be basically controlled by somebody else, and I think that leads to a lot more fights and aggression and like that kind of stuff. So I don't know, I just think you always end up regretting the fighting you do. And if you look at any major military conflict in the last, I don't know, 65 plus years, there really isn't like a clear winner. Like, oh yeah, somebody really won that. People get hurt, cities are destroyed, infrastructure is ruined, childhoods are obliterated, and you really end up getting to this point where you're just like, man, nobody wins this. Like, nobody wins this. And humans just won't learn, unfortunately. We are incapable of truly processing that kind of destruction. And that's on the big scale, right? Like, most of us are dealing with aggression and conflict on a much smaller level, but it all accumulates in your life, and it it affects your life, it impacts, you know. I can think of several different moments, like flash in the pan sort of important moments that involved a lot of aggression, but you know, drastically changed the outlook of my life and where I went. So I think we need to be mindful of our aggressive tendencies. We need to be mindful of other people's difficulties and why they might become angry or agitated, things like that. Yeah, I think I'd like to read you the actual passage and then talk about it a little bit more. So, regretting aggression. There is an axiom of military strategy. I prefer to be the guest rather than the host. I prefer to retreat a foot than advance an inch. This is acting without moving, fighting without baring one's arms, advancing where there is no enemy, grasping no weapon. There is no calamity worse than thoughtlessly going to war. For in doing so, I lose that which is most precious to me. Thus, when two sides do actually engage, the one that does so with regret will be the victor. So sometimes people ask me, as a Taoist, how do you deal with aggression? Like, how do you deal with an insurmountable evil? And are you just going to be a pacifist? You know, people who are pacifists often get asked the same question. You know, how do you deal with, you know, the Nazis? Or how do you deal with an incredibly difficult situation where, you know, you're facing pure evil? Which I don't know if pure evil truly exists, but like that's a topic for philosophy 101. But what I can say, in my opinion, of the Tao is that there are times where you need to stand up and fight for what you think is correct, but standing up and fighting is not always what you imagine it to be. It does not have to be a physical fight. It does not have to be a physical confrontation where you are actively battling the forces of evil. Standing up against something you believe is wrong can mean a very different thing. You do not have to imagine it as, you know, taking up literal weapons to fight your foe. There are so many methods and avenues open to, you know, basically saying, I'm not okay with this, I will fight this. And only one of those options involves actual, like, physical aggression. So that's kind of what I think. I think, you know, there are moments where you do have to put your foot down and say, enough. But there are many, many ways that you can say that and do that and mean that, rather than just punching somebody in the face. And especially for our personal lives, there are very few situations where just walking away is the bad move. You know, there are so many situations where you analyze it, you're looking at it, and you're going, I don't need this, I'm gonna leave. And that has been one of the greatest powers, the greatest solutions that I have found in my life is, I don't actually need this, I'm gonna leave, bye. And I think it's really unspoken and we don't talk about it enough. We say, oh, coward, you know, you're a pacifist, you're weak. And, you know, we call the person a chicken. And honestly, like, you can call me all that stuff. Like, I don't care. I know what's right. I have my moral framework that I believe in, and I'm not going to be bullied into responding the way you want me to respond. You don't need to do that. There's no real need to respond the way they want you to. And that's losing in a way. If you fall to their ability to get a rise out of you, you've already lost, especially if you're resorting to aggression. So I think it's very telling. That last line, the one that does so with regret will be the victor. Boy, is that true. I've heard other translations where it talks about a warrior should march to battle as if he's marching through a cemetery. And I think that's really true, to have that wisdom and to understand that, like, oh boy, this will not end well. Nobody's going to win here. I think if more people around the world understood that, we would have a lot less aggression in the world. People claiming that they belong here or own this, or, these people are, not correct or not good. All of that stems from aggression, insecurity, and the inability to empathize with other people and to understand that everybody just wants to have a good life. Everybody is just trying to get somewhere that gives them and their families and their loved ones opportunity. So that's really all I'm going to say about regretting aggression. I'll show you the beautiful picture. Isn't that nice? And there's the actual blurb. So let me know what you think about regretting aggression. And as always, guys, I hope you have a beautiful day. Let the sun rise and feel it on your skin. Create that vitamin D. And I will always talk to you tomorrow.